at John's after lunch. If you've been here from the beginning of this, I first came over here and kind of did a little detail sanding, and I've shown how to mix the dope and tint the dope, and I put a coat of dope on the airplane already, and it's ready for a light sanding. And when I say light sanding, we're not shaping anything. All I'm doing is knocking off the pebbles. And I'll try to illustrate that like this. If you listen here, you can hear that it's kind of gritty. That's the side that has dope and hadn't been sanded. And then you listen here, it's a lot smoother.
Yep. All you're doing is taking the gravel off. Knocking down all the grain that raised. Using 320 sandpaper.
Yeah.
Remember, this is all you get for your base, all the way until you start putting your color on it. That's all you get. And you fill it up 5 times with thinner. You don't get any more pigment or solid.
And that's plumbing.
It's a little bit more than what we did, but it's not much.
Well, seeing that I'm going back to St. Louis, I wanted to take a little extra with me. Okay. Here, that's my finger. I suppose you could use 600 or whatever, but I think it's overkill.
Right now, it is. Now, when you get to your final stages of this after your silk stands on, I'm at about then.
Put it on, sand it off. And I want to leave this open because I got to get some dope inside this trailing hedge. I forgot. 2 in 1 already. And now, same thing with the wing. Need to get this tray again, still up with the flaps off. Here, Sam, this one. I'm just trying to get the big gravel off of it. Oh, look at that hole. You can fill that. Yeah, I see a bunch of spots that need cheaper fill before I cover it.
Yeah.
I gotta get it, had to get it hard, you know.
As typical.
So you, at least you know what weight to shoot for on your wing.
Yeah.
You can beat the weight of this one, you're doing great.
Well, I'm tickled to it right now, but it's always good with well laid plans of mice and men.
Okay.
Wow, you're like John Sand on your airplane.
Yeah. There's so much sanding to do. That little bit is like a speck of what needs to be done. Now let's see if we got any chatters. 4 and 2. Yep. Hey Alexander, thank you. Good morning. Or good afternoon, James. Go back and watch the first half of this to see what we built up to.
Did you super glue these tips real good?
No,
These?
no. I'm just open them. I forgot. So they'll end up breaking off.
Yeah, they almost always do.
Way it goes.
Well, I wouldn't want to build an airplane like that belfry bound or something. That thing acts like it's a accident waiting to happen. A warp in progress.
You ever meet Carl Shute?
No, I don't think I have.
He's dead now. He lost his thumb in some type of machining accident, so they sewed his toe on his thumb.
I've heard of that before.
His big toe was his thumb. Really strange looking. But no matter how strange looking, you gotta have a thumb.
Yeah, you can't do anything with 4 fingers.
Okay.
Are you satisfied with that?
No,
You want to blow it off or
I suppose, yeah, we'll blow it off.
wipe it with a paper towel or something?
Let's blow it off. Get the marbles off. Let's see what we got here. 3 and 3. The second show is not as pronounced as the first show. We did 2 hours and 40 minutes on the last one. What happened to it? There it is.
I wish they'd make these hoses where they're not pre-wound.
Here, blow this up real quick. I'll just hold it out there just.
You paint all them little parts and pieces?
Yeah.
I didn't see you.
And sanded.
Didn't see you.
Okay, coat number 2.
Slather it on there.
That's it.
Need some heat.
Yep. Sorry guys, but we're gonna turn on the torpedo again.
no cutting. There's no cutting anything here. This is the exact amount of time. Exact amount of time sanding. Like Sparky said earlier, during the first coat, make sure you get an even amount on both sides.
Almost.
Don't put 5 coats on one side and 4 on the other, it will warp. It's still pretty much just piling the dope on it. He's not being shy about laying stuff down. Probably sit here and go ahead and paint on 5 coats of it, but what that'll do is it'll leave deep brush strokes in it, and the deep brush strokes are hard to sand out of it, and it will leave it in there. You can't see them if you put on 5 or 6 coats like right now. You're better off to sand lightly in between every coat just to alleviate that problem so it doesn't crop up on you. Saw how long it took to sand this whole basically the whole airplane off of the fuselage, and 10 minutes, and you're back to putting on another coat. So the biggest time is waiting for everything to dry, and then the fun's just starting right now. This is where all your little dings, boogers, and everything, that hanger rash, it's going to start popping up and showing.
There's I don't even have the fuselage built yet. I have parts built, but it's not put together. You want to finish all these parts before you put the fuselage on, and then finish the fuselage. It's a whole lot easier.
This hardens up all this wood for the handling that it'll have when you get it on one piece down the road, rather than waiting to do this after you got your airplane on one piece. Hardens all the surfaces up, makes it a little less prone to jets and dings and whatnot. Of course, you got to be careful with it. You can't just manhandle it. You're going to have tissue on this thing here before long, and you're going to have to be careful, but you shouldn't really be handling it too much outside of just detail sanding, getting it prepared to join with the fuselage. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but you can already tell that even after just the first coat, now with the second coat of this tinted clear on there, it's starting to look whiter and whiter as you go along. When you get the silk span on, that'll really turn white. And by the time you get 3 or 4 coats on top of the silk span, it'll be just white. Sorry about that, guys. Keep the camera after there. Thank you. We're going to have to make you a little bracket or something to put on the top of this with a hook on it, and then we can just screw it to permanent. Before you leave here, let me take some measurements, and I'll mill a little piece of aluminum that we can stick on the top of there and run a bolt in that's got a hook on the aluminum. How much farther will that thing open up?
That's it.
out of it, and you can screw it back in, that way it can stay with it.
So I'm letting this top coat dry. I'll flip it over, everything over and do the other side. It looks like it's about 1 inch per coat.
Yeah.
Because it was down to here and now it's another 1/2 inch, so.
Landed on good and heavy.
I don't want to start thinning it out yet.
Back in days when people hand painted their airplanes, you don't ever, you sort of lay it on there. You sort of
Float.
let the paintbrush sort of float, and when it runs out, you quit. You don't sit here and wipe it back and forth, and then you load the paintbrush up again, and you run out until it goes dry. And you keep doing that, and then you put this coat on this way, this coat on this way, next coat on at an angle, next coat back at an angle. It all helps to alleviate brush strokes. You could do that now. I mean, it will leave brush strokes. If you put 5 coats on here and run everything in the same direction, it can leave brush strokes, and especially if you don't sand it in between every coat. But he's just now getting into the work. This is just starting the work. This is all detail sanding. There's nothing coming off this airplane. It's all going on it. So any weight you add to this airplane, there's nothing but going on it. And believe you me, you're not sanding off ounces. You're not sanding off quarter ounces or maybe grams in the whole airplane. Maybe. So you're doing nothing but adding weight to your airplane at this point. Fillers, tissue, everything is just building now. So trust, when he says get a 6-ounce finish, it's not an easy chore. It's a lot of this stuff. And cases of elbow grease and detail. Candling. Hold that thing up to the light and look at it and see if you see bad spots and stuff that need to be worked on, then work on them.
And when you see a bad spot, you don't put a coat over the whole airplane. You just do the bad spot.
Just the bad spot.
I've screwed up here.
On the wrong side.
Yeah, well, I'd have to do these separate. Okay, that side there. And this side here. Okay, no big deal.
You can even see the build in it. You can probably feel it with that paintbrush even, how much smoother this coat goes on than the coat
Oh, yeah.
before.
Oh, yeah.
This whole thing right now is nothing but sanding from now on out. Nothing but sanding, not for the faint of heart.
If you're Dave Day and you're just tuning in, tune out, because all it's going to be is sanding until this is done.
Sanding, sanding, and more sanding. It's probably best to use a block or something from now on out when you're sanding. Don't use your fingers just to keep from putting grooves in it or something. This little block he's got right here is a foam block. It's got a soft side and a harder side.
Is that one mine?
No, it's mine. All these are mine. And they're out here.
I got one. I don't know where it is.
But this will ensure that you don't sand grooves in it or something, and you're trying to flatten the surface as best as you can. That's the whole point of all this sanding, is to make it flat. And that's what these blocks will help you do. It's just, even a little block like that, that thing's about 2.5 by 1.5 or 2, about a 1/2 inch thick. Get them at your auto paint stores. I don't know that I've seen them at AutoZone or something like that, but go to a regular automotive type paint store and they have these little flexible foam pads. They come about
6 inches.
6 inches by 4 inches or something like that. And we just cut them up, take a pair of scissors, just chop them up whatever size you want, make a bunch of them. You can use them in water, you can use them wet sand, you can do anything. Make them custom shapes or whatever, but they're real handy.
I already painted that side, okay. Okay, flip that over. Is it dry enough?
No, I see some little,
Shiny spot.
yeah.
Okay.
You can even see it on that blue, on that super fill where it's starting to
White out.
white out a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Not that bright blue color anymore. It's all about putting less pigmented paint on it. The tinted clear is all about doing that.
Missed that too.
Right there, you got that thumbprint.
Down there pretty glopped out.
Yeah. That's all right, it'll shrink up.
It'll
You
sink
just
right
sand it again and then, see, just in that amount of time, that glossy spot's right there reduced by 50% just in 2 minutes.
That glossy spot is white.
Yeah. There's only about 2 tablespoons of white in that paint. You guys are just now showing up. Just enough to tint it. It looks like 2% milk. Maybe somewhere between 1% and 2% milk. Not much more can be said. Sand, paint, sand, paint, sand, paint.
It's about now.
The whole point of this right here is to build up a glue to put your tissue on and to help sort of start flattening the surface. That's the point of these base coats. This is really nothing but glue, cellulose glue. And you're trying to build a base so that when you put your tissue on, it'll stick down. So you need glue underneath, and then you put your tissue on and you glue it to that, and then you put more glue on top of that to fill in all the holes in your tissue paper. So you're making a plastic surface.
Dope is not paint, it's glue.
They used to take film and dissolve old 16, 24 millimeter film and dissolve it. There's a big drip. And dissolve it with thinners and stuff, and that's what made it. It's called nitrocellulose dope, and that's basically what it was. It's film dissolved, plastic dissolved. You ever heard about any old fires or something, you know, in them old buildings that held all them old archived film footage and stuff?
I guess you took acetone and put it on film, it would make dope.
And a lot of times what they'll do is instead of, when they put their tissue on there, instead of using dope, they'll just use straight thinner. Mm-hmm. And it'll go through the tissue paper and it'll eat into the layer underneath of it. And that's one thing nice about dope, is it's not a mechanical bond, it's a chemical bond, where one coat melts into the coat prior to it.
But if you're gonna do that, you gotta have lots of dope as a base.
Yeah. The thinner sort of the activator, you know, it makes the tissue paper melt into the dope that's put on prior to that. Or, you know, you could refer to it as glue. And that's what makes it stick, and then you just build up on top of that.
I don't know if you're watching, Dan, but that was pretty funny when I handed you that can of paint, that can of primer.
About dropped it. That thing must weigh 25 pounds. Oh, hang on.
I know I made it look light when I held it out there like that.
Yeah. And you're going, starting to shake. Here's this can of primer. Performance coating, gray primer. I don't think they got a weight on it. They're afraid to put the weight on it.
You know what? Let's try that on this airplane. Let's make a super nice finish on this, see what happens.
Your airplane, 70 ounces.
Yeah.
This gallon can must weigh 10 pounds. I swear to God.
Go get your scale. I bet it's more than 10
I don't
pounds.
think a scale will go up enough.
You got a scale in the bathroom?
Yeah, maybe we can do that.
Weigh yourself and then hold the can and weigh.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm interested to know what that can of primer weighs. I say 25 pounds, but who knows? It feels like a can of lead. It doesn't feel like a gallon of water or a gallon of gas. It feels like a can of lead. That's probably 10 pounds. I don't know. Be interesting to see. It's the heaviest paint can I've ever held.
Anybody want to guesstimate the weight? This gallon can of primer.
Is it anywhere close to what we think? I know it's more than 7 pounds. Gallon of water.
Speak up on there and tell us what you think it weighs.
Gallon of water weighs 7 pounds. And that feels like a can
Gallon
of
of primer.
Let's have some guesses on what that weighs. Anybody?
Nothing yet. Six watching, 7 thumbs up. Come on, guys. There's 6 of you watching. Let's get 6 replies. How much does that gallon of primer weigh? Don't go running down into your workshop and go weighing no gallon can of primer.
No, you can do that.
You can, but
it won't be right because that is the heaviest gallon of paint I've ever felt. Take a gallon of dope. Dope is half the weight of that.
oh yeah, yeah, you can pick it up and tell. Or if they put lead in it as a filler.
It feels like a gallon of lead.
Probably got rock in it, some kind of gypsum or something.
Any answers yet?
No answers yet. Come on, guys. I know you're listening. Gallon of primer. How much does it weigh?
Let's put it all on there like Wendy would.
Don't sand it off. Just keep sanding it until it gets smooth.
Keep painting till it's smooth.
Coat after coat after coat. That's a gallon of unthin clear dope for a top coat.
Yeah. Kenny?
That'd be 4 gallons of thinner.
Anything yet? Nope. Come on, guys. 10 watchers.
10
How much?
watchers.
How much does this gallon of primer weigh? How much you think this gallon of primer weighs? It's light. I'll tell you this right now, it's a whole lot heavier than you guys think. 9 pounds. Winship says 25 pounds. James Doran says 9 pounds. 12 or 11? 11 pounds.
That's measuring on a bathroom scale. That might not be super accurate, but you're close enough. 11 pounds. That's a bunch.
Let's put it all on there and a gallon.
That's what you're planning to weigh, 11 pounds plus.
I don't think I'll be using it.
Well, I tell you, we lost out on the best primer that you could have ever had.
Yep.
And when they changed the formula for that, that totally screwed everything.
That was good stuff. I mean, who's to say we could make that into DC 540? But
I'm sure there's something that we could get to make a primer out of. I mean, if you wanted it gray, all you gotta do is use a little bit of gray paint or a little bit of black in there to tint it. A couple drops of black and that whole thing of white would make it gray.
yeah, but white is better.
White's better, yeah. I agree. It's harder to candle. You can look at this stuff, and this is only the second coat on here, and you can see that this grain's starting to disappear a little bit. You get to see a white tinge to it.
Right. It's pretty smooth already.
Oh,
Another sand out and another coat in a minute or
I
two.
think I would go with 4 base coats. 3 hasn't been not being satisfactory for me.
So it's gonna be there and then there. And I guess that'll leave
When
it
you get down here, you can start adding thinner to it. Once this reaches about halfway, I put more thinner back in it. You can add as much thinner as you want, guys. The thinner gases off. This stuff gases off some because it's got thinner in it already. You know, even stock thickness, it's got thinners in it.
starting to pick up a shine already.
Yeah. It's amazing. You don't have a lot of thinner in that right now.
No.
You have only got about probably 40%.
Yeah, it's more paint than thinner. But that's what I wanted.
Yeah, you got to build that sticky base up.
Feel that right there. Feels real good.
Oh yeah. Got those bumps out of there pretty good. These are always trouble spots.
I mentioned that on the videos, but nobody pays attention.
Always trouble spots. They'll come out. You'll have them looking good all the way through it, and you'll paint that thing and shoot that clear on it at the very end and say, damn, why didn't I fix that? And you fixed it 5 times prior.
I think there must have been something in the cradle.
Yeah, I've been trying to be real meticulous. Every time I could have set it down, I dump the cradles out. Where'd you get this core at?
Hunt.
I'll be back.
What?
I'll be back. I'll be back.
Okay, we need a brush cleaner jar. I don't know if we'll get a third coat on this or not today. I guess we'll go down in the basement and see what John's gonna do. I'll give him a hand. I'm gonna do a hanger rash broadcast tonight. I'm gonna try to pull up those flying videos and we'll discuss them. Of course, Hanger Ash will continue in St. Louis. President's Day is Monday. I was gonna go to the DMV, but they're gonna be closed. £14, 25 pounds. Yeah, there was 11 pounds, almost 12. This is a nice wing. It came out real nice. Straight, light. It was 11 3/4 ounces. Complete. The flaps, everything. Would have been nice at 10, but I've never built one at 10. So, this is the inboard. We'll weigh it when we go downstairs and see what it weighs. See what the 2 coats of dope added. And I gotta go through this again. Get in there. Need to see if John's got a dowel I can make my little cone with. Now I'll have to do it in St. Louis. Boy, I don't want to get in there. If you remember, if you were watching, when I was building this, I was having a hard time getting this together because I don't have my little cone-shaped piece made yet to guide the screw into the hole. You got any 1/2 inch dowel or 3/4 inch dowel, short piece? I only need a 1/4 inch.
4.
I need to turn it on your lathe to make a little cone to catch the screw.
Why don't you just cut your lead to fit the opening tight? You don't have any?
No,
I do.
it still doesn't guide the screw into the blind nut.
Here, I don't know if I have any now. I have to look downstairs.
super hard piece of wood. Yeah, I'm not gonna monkey with it until I get that made.
What do you do?
I turn a piece of dowel, 1/2 inch, and 1/4 inch thick, with a cone, reverse cone, so that this catches the screw and puts it right into the hole. But I don't have, it's not done yet.
Couldn't you just scab on something onto the lid and make the lid thicker and make the hole in the lid tight on the screw to where it would just hold the screw straight?
No. No, I don't want to do that. It's no big deal what I'm trying to do. I just need a piece.
Then you have to show me. This is part of the shrinking statement, you know that?
Now, why won't this fit on either side? Jeez.
I don't know. I mark all mine. I take a magic marker and on the inside edge of it, I put a I or an O.
Okay.
COVID.
Yeah.
Down the wrong pipe.
There we go.
I was wondering if you were gonna go out one bay past the landing gear or not. You really don't need to.
I didn't. Landing gear is right there.
Yeah. It's the same way I did mine.
Leave the pieces off. I have to sand that when it's dry. Still
I
rubber.
cut out probably 1/4 or more of the ribs on that SV wing by doing a geo like this.
Yeah, you only got 10 ribs in it, right? 10 ribs,
Yeah, something like that, 10.
10 per size.
It had a rib every 2 inches. Maybe less than 2 inches in that thing. You gotta build these things minimalistic, guys. Don't worry about, I mean, even these guys building these race airplanes. I watch these guys, they're fiberglassing them and they'll last 100 years. Well, don't build it to last, build it to win the race. Build it to win flying. That means lightweight, strong and light.
Light equals horsepower.
Let's work on your motor. And when you make all them hard turns, and it's eating up all that horsepower, and thinking, man, you get to the last part of that horizontal square 8, and you're going, come on, baby, you can make it over the top. Or you're not having to fly at 4.5 second laps to get it to go through the thing. Yeah, it's really starting to look at. I think if I were you, I'd put 4 coats on it. It's already smooth, so you raised all the grain and knocked all the grain down. You're gonna have all this thing covered when you come back from St. Louis?
In between bathroom strokes, I'll,
Yeah, that ought to be fine. That's me and plumbing don't get along.
I think I could put another coat on this right now.
Yeah, you could. Wouldn't hurt it. Barry, you want to sand it all again?
Yeah, let's sand it up.
You hit your hand.
I'm gonna leave the elevator stab together and the flaps on it this time.
When you put your extra tape on, make sure you get some more tape. Really will. Maybe there's a baby, but for right now. Ain't loading the paper up.
Nope. That's that 50-year-old goat.
Yeah.
Dry.
Got different stuff in it.
Yeah.
Got the good stuff in it.
No kidding, that can said 1972.
Pretty amazing.
Probably out of spec for a real airplane.
Yeah. I'm not dealing with real good or a rocket plane.
Sorry guys, we got to turn on the torpedo again. We got 12 watchers.
Good, build it back up.
Hey guys. What's up? Oh, I hate it. Yeah. Well, that's great. Appreciate it. Yeah, just we're just sanding, painting and sanding. I know. We're no. Did you see my explanation on sanding block? Yeah. Yeah. John's got a box. I got a box. If you ain't got a box, you just make something. You didn't look. There's two long straight edges on the tape to the glass countertop, and so he puts the trailing edge between them. You know, so. And then just line up the leading edge and hold it. Yeah, because I appreciate it, Jim. You too. Bye now. That was Jim Lynch.
Could tell. What was his words of wisdom?
Can't have enough sanding.
Yeah.
He says, keep doing what I'm doing, because he learns every time I do something.
If Jim Lynch is learning from me, that's saying something.
He asked how you hold that wing straight.
Yep.
Now we're talking about a guy who is a master craftsman. Master craftsman.
Yeah. Hard to hold a candle to him.
I can hardly believe he's learning from me, but I mean, that guy's good.
Yeah, it goes to show you never know too much to learn. There's always another way to skin the cat.
Yeah, those people who think they know everything are particularly aggravating those of us who do.
That's why I always said I'm an intellectual thief. I steal every damn idea I can steal. And I try it. And if I don't like it, then fine, I might not use it again. Maybe I will. But it's worth a try. It's something different. Makes it stronger, better, easier.
Everything's feeling real nice now. A little lump right there, but I can't get that out till after it's covered. Because it's a super fill right there. I'll have to cover it, get it all hardened up around there, and then block it.
Yeah. Certain things just gotta go at certain times. 600?
Yeah.
Something to get in this little freezer thing.
And let me tell you, I really mean it. Jim Lynch is a master craftsman. His airplanes are beautiful. He's the guy that got me finishing the bottom as good as the top. Because I used to just cheat, you know.
Well, a lot of people do that, you know, why not? Save weight, save elbow grease.
But when I got hosed 2 points,
Make a believer out of you, huh?
yeah.
Jim Lynch walked up to your airplane and said, "That's a really pretty airplane." You can guarantee that's a real pretty airplane.
Or he'll say, hey, what are you going to do about that?
Yeah. Good guy. Really good guy. And I don't know Jim super well. I mean, I know him a little bit.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Got to be every bit of 300. Well, should I start putting it on there?
Gonna blow it off?
I already wiped it off. Good enough.
Doesn't matter much really. I blow it off. It acts like filler.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell it's getting dope on it now. The brush is dragging.
Yeah. You can tell how fast this sanding is going. You're not knocking yourself out sanding at this point in time, because there ain't no shaping. If you're shaping, you've done something wrong. Notice we keep rubbing our hands over it. What we're feeling for is you can feel the little spots that you miss. They'll stick out like a sore thumb, run through there and hit them spots. See better with your hands. Do with your eyes. Oh, no wonder that's what I'm feeling.
What?
There's a
Yeah,
gouge and a gouge.
Yeah, superfill. It'll get gone over with superfill.
Put some of that red lead oxide crap in it.
Yeah, right.
Paint it with zinc chromate.
I try to use the least amount of aqua green we can get away with too.
Yeah, well, that stuff's got a lot of solids in it.
That weighs a pound too.
Yeah.
16 ounces.
One little giant toothpick tube.
This is the third coat. This will be the last coat for the day. 230. Put it back together before I paint it. Okay. Easier to paint together.
Well, maybe that's how I took that thing apart, because I laid it all down just like that.
Yeah. Got you too, huh?
Yeah. Wouldn't hold my mouth right.
Okay.
I can even see it going on different. It's amazing how fast that bottle of dope will go down though. Especially when you get that tissue paper on there and you put that first coat on that tissue paper.
It sucks it up pretty good. Oh, sorry. Yeah. 8 and 11. We got 8 watchers and 11 thumbs up.
That's good. Well, there's a good thing that blue was not quite that dark, but almost that dark. You can tell the difference, it's just flat.
All it's doing is making the dark spots lighter and lighter and lighter. And like John says, when I get the 4th coat of base on it and then the tissue and 3 coats on the top of that, it will be white.
Yeah. I went downstairs, we proved it on before. Got a couple of them down there actually.
And it takes 1/2 pint to paint it white. 1/2 pint, not a quart, not a half a quart, 1/2 a pint.
And then you thin that 1/2 pint. That's raw paint 1/2 pint.
Right.
And 1 coat, and it'll be opaque.
Yeah. It'll be opaque enough.
Yeah. Still hold it up to the sunlight and see through the wing base. But you set it down there on the ground and it just turned solid.
Yeah.
Anybody ever done any RC car racing? You ever paint a Lexan car body? Paint them on the inside? They look like they got about that much lacquer on the outside of the paint as you're seeing through the plastic.
Yeah.
And boy, if anything, you could not put paint on heavy on those things. The first time you'd hit a wall, the paint would crack off that plastic. So you had to airbrush it on there really, really light. And man, you could almost read the paper through those paint jobs. You put it on that car and set it down there on the carpet, man, it all turns solid. And well, I think there's going to be a lot of real pretty airplanes at this year's match. I've seen some of them out there. Now, whatever you can gather from a picture, which isn't really justice, but some of them look pretty nice. Got a lot of that spray shine out there. Everybody's using that spray shine. And to me, judging the quality of a paint finish isn't spray shine.
Don't use this. Yeah, it'll make it pretty, but this can is heavy. And you spray this on, you weigh this can and you spray this on, that's just how much paint weight it's 16 and a half ounces. You spray this on and use a can, that's how much weight you've added to your airplane. And we figured this out. We took an empty can, that's 16 ounces of paint, 16 and a half ounces of paint, not plus can.
Yeah.
So these guys that say, well, I put 2 coats of urethane on my airplane, only added an ounce. BS.
You make a video and show me. That's what I say. Make a video and show me. Are you using twice the reducer in it?
Doesn't matter. Whatever.
Doesn't matter. It's got more solids in it.
Whatever the paint weighs is what it's going to weigh. When you
There's a
spray
lot
it.
of pretty airplanes out there that are pretty to the look because they're really super shiny because of that base coat, clear coat paint. They're really shiny and it goes on thick. 1 coat or 2 coats, man, and it looks like a baby grand piano that's had 100 hand rubbed coats of lacquer put on it.
It doesn't look the same to me.
It doesn't look the same, no. But you have to look through the shine and look at the fit and finish of the airplane underneath the shine. And you stand back and look at it, yeah, it's pretty. But get up close and look at all these little spots here. Look at all these little cap strip where they join. Look at these wing tip lines. Look at the fuselage fillets. You know, look at the wheel pants. Look, turn it over. Look at these joints right here. This is all the spots that'll show up. Right here, this will show up. Sparky knows that. That's why he's already trying to fight it. Right now, he's trying to get away from that. Anytime you got a butt joint and you use super glue to glue your parts on, say you super glue this wingtip on. Instead of using wood glue is the best because it'll sand out better. But super glue will harden that joint up so much that as soon as everything dries up, it'll show up again.
Yeah.
And we use a lot of super glue, and you gotta admit that it's handy and it makes work quick, but it can be a royal pain in the ass on joints. Spend some extra time sanding these.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen quite a few airplanes out there that the grain really shows back up, even through the silk span. Now, I even double peppered an airplane one time. I took lightweight silk span and put two layers on it, on the wings. And I'll tell you what, they're about bulletproof. They're about as close to monocoat as you can get for hardness, puncture resistance. 2 layers of double hot silk span on it. if a guy wanted to do that, to say like a wing like this with an open bay, you could put a layer over just the open bay, about a half-inch bigger all the way around the open bay, and dope that down real good, and then come back through and cover the whole wing, cover over all that, and then you'd have quite a bit more puncture resistance.
If you wanted to do that, put polyspan, just the open bay.
It's so thick though, that when you cover it, it'll leave a edge that you gotta fill in.
You can get it out of there. Primer.
More weight, 7 ounces.
I really wanted to use that Japanese tissue on a wing. But man,
It could be done, but
yeah,
it's,
look what Gary Phelps does.
He's a master at it though. I don't have the patience, which I probably should have, considering how much sanding and stuff you do.
Japanese tissue fills in 3 coats.
If you put, and make sure you put the shiny side out.
No kidding. Lightweight silk span probably fills in 4 coats.
Yeah, please watch out for this Brodex silk span, because I've done 2 airplanes here recently that had a lot of pinholes in it. Just pay close attention to that and address those pinholes before you get on into your color code, or you could have problems.
John's the pinhead kid. I don't have a problem
I've
with
never ever had a problem with that in the past.
I'll
Never,
guarantee you, I'll cover this wing with that silk span. There won't be no pinholes in it.
Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see.
And you go, how the heck did he do that?
We'll see. That's all I gotta say. You need to bring that Jeff tissue back with you.
I think it's over at my apartment. It has to be.
I never remembered you bringing that carbon over here.
I never remember bringing it either, but I know it's mine.
I carry pieces of carbon out of my stuff down in the basement.
Yeah, but it was 0.5. That's 2/10.
Well, all you was doing was laminated in the front of it.
Right. I used 0.5 for that. I got some of that over there now too, because Dixon. I got it from Dixon.
I need to get a spool, 1,000-foot spool of lead out material. Or go to the fishing shop and see about finding. It's hard to find steel leader here in the flyover states.
Yeah. That's saltwater fishing stuff.
Yeah. Might find it up in Michigan where they're fishing for them toothy critters.
See how much bigger my outboard flap is than my inboard?
Yeah, why'd you make it bigger all the way across on them? I thought you was only supposed to go from nothing to an 1/8 inch at the tip.
Well, I did the whole thing because the inboard wing dropped or outboard wing dropped. You can't tell.
Whatever's working for you, that's all that matters. I didn't notice it. I mean, if it's on there and you don't notice it, that's the key thing, just hide all this stuff. And when you're painting your airplane, remember about the asymmetry in your wing. Your outboard wing panel is about 3/4 of an inch shorter. So any designs that you put on this long wing is going to be bigger. And don't ask me how I know. I always lay out the small wing first, and that way it'll fit on the bigger wing and it doesn't look as bad. You can just slide it over just a little bit, 3/8 of an inch, and then you don't notice the asymmetry. What's tough is if you do a whole bottom of a wing in checkerboards.
Yeah.
And you got two different size checkerboards to make an equal square count to come out right on the wingtips. You got two different size checkerboards. And then you go put checkerboards on the stab and elevator. There's three different sizes. And I did that with tape on an airplane. In fact, my katana, little tape checkerboards, that's a lot of taping.
Yeah, I tape them too, all at once.
Oh, yeah. I gotta dream up a paint job.
Better get after it. Times are burning, you gotta have it ready before spring.
I'll order some plastic and some transfer tape. Here, brush it out. I don't know if you do that or not. I don't need to be telling you how to paint. Not that you don't know how to paint.
I don't know how to paint.
Up to 024.
Oh, what does that mean?
What's up to 024 mean, Christopher?
Jim said he hates winter and they're expecting 5 inches where he lives.
Oh, God. I hate winter too. We're all with you, Jim. I've had enough of it already. All right, Christopher Evans, tell us what you mean by up to 024. 0.024. Multi-strand wire. You using that for your lead outs? Been using 32,000s on these big airplanes.
80-pound test.
80-pound test fishing line. You ever get one wound up in the wind with a 75 on a pipe or something and 20-mile-an-hour winds? It'll make a believer out of you, that's for sure. Now this new wing that I'm building right now, I got an extra piece of wood in the wing. I put a spar down the center of this leading edge
I saw that.
to give that leading edge a little more dent resistance.
Add some more weight. Gotta leave parts off. You could have done that with a piece of 16.
Yeah, I could have.
Half inch by 1/16.
Yeah.
Just made a slot.
Yeah, it's a 1/4 inch square piece. What I put in, well, not 1/4 inch, 3/16 square piece. I didn't want to make it big to where I'd have to do a lot of sand into it to make it conform to the leading edge. And I did one in the past, it's been quite a while, probably 15 years ago, that had just a 1/16 inch slot in front. When I first started doing a molded leading edge wings. By golly, it's like downtown, man.
Yeah.
Telling you. candle that, you can't see any of those brush strokes, got them little light seams in between. Almost used up a half a jar, you'll have used up a half a jar just on this base, you put 4 coats on it. This is still number 3, right?
Yep.
I thought this thing had good curves in the flaps up in here too.
They do. I can't put those curves until the fuselage is done. They, starts about here and goes back. But I gotta have the fuselage on there before I can put that curve in it. Did you set it back down the way it was?
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, my drill's no different than yours. I set things away for a reason. When I did all these filler pieces back here, I cut them all at once. And I set them up here in front of the leading edge, all right in exact order where I cut them, the same end pointing the right direction and the whole shebang. Laid them all out here and then I started at one end, just right on down the line with them.
Yeah.
That was time consuming as hell. That probably took me 5 hours. To put all them in there, cut them all, put them all in, all the shear webbing.
Mine took 2 hours. 2 1-hour sessions online.
To put all them in there,
Hour aside.
how'd you cut them?
I made a jig.
Yeah, but
I did one at a time, made a jig, and then cut all the widths, and then cut all the lengths one at a time, glued them in.
well, I put a piece of 16th in there, and then set a piece down on there.
That's not how I did it. I measured with my machinist scale, then I made it a jig to block, to stop it, put my square up there and went foot, and then pushed it over till it hit the stop and foot, cut all of them. I showed it online, it's real simple. About the same way you cut, I-beam wing ribs.
You used 3/32 on all this, didn't you?
Except for those, the shear webs, those are 16th.
See, the whole wing of mine's all out of 16. That's why it weighs what it does.
Yeah. So if I'd have used 16th, I'd be in the 10-ounce range. But wouldn't be as strong. And you don't have any room to sand.
Yeah, 0 room to sand. Everything's gotta be spot on. There is no sanding room, 16th inch wood. And you wanna build one, try building one. Those that haven't, try building one sometime. Big airplane, fuselage, everything. Find out it ain't easy.
It's easy as long as somebody else is doing it.
Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah, say that. Somebody got a real good lightweight tip design? Post it up there. We're always looking for new and inventive things. I don't mean a solid wingtip that's hollowed out on the inside.
This thing's already picking up a shine. I step back here, look at the wing,
Oh,
shiny already. 12 and 12. I don't fly a big plane. You guys fly only 40 size. Jan's Netcraft sells multi-strand wire in Toledo. Spools of afternoon Sparky and John, Chris Everson. Yeah.
what is that place, Chris? Is that a fishing supply house or? He's from where?
Toledo, that's
So he's up around the Great Lakes. Yeah.
just a couple hours here.
Yeah, we're down in Dayton, Ohio. Tackle making shop. Okay, thanks,
What?
Chris. A tackle shop to make fishing tackle. Got a place called Fisherman's Quarters here. I might check out.
I got mine like jackal sheets.
That they have all sorts of fly tying supplies, specialize in just fishing supplies. And it's a small shop, probably about the size of a 2.5 car garage. They got everything in there.
whatever it is.
Yeah. It's all about how you shape the wingtips and the top of the fin and the canopy that you put on it. That determines what it looks like. Outside of that, they're all the same.
Yeah.
I might take the marker for the beach spot and take it, where the big shape on it is stronger, harder to lay out, harder to do. You can still do it with a flat top at the bottom.
The only problem is the doubler. F1, F2.
You know, I built some airplanes where I took the fuselage sides and I made metal cradles and I molded them around for the came as a spinner. So you don't sand off and through all the layers. And you gotta know what size spinner you're gonna use to begin with. You know,
Trying to motor mount that.
they fit me around the better mounts and everything. And they all formed in there. They came out really nice. Sort of a pain in the butt to do, but it came out really nice. I was scared to death. I figured I'd put my way and take these on sides doing that. You know, it came out great. Look at it.
Roll again right there.
See it. This airplane, that's not, you know, was not an easy airplane. I always looked at the film. And on it had this little detail, had this detail, had this big Phillips up here. That almost looks like that shouldn't even work. You know what I mean? That's a dude.
Perfect. Just gotta stand it right.
Yeah, that's nice. 80 ounce, not 70 anymore, it's 80 now. You can feel it.
Probably pick up an ounce.
Probably didn't lose about half that when the gas is on.
This thing needs to be covered, 3 coats of soap on it, no more than 15 ounces. Then paint on it, 16 ounces.
Pretty dry. About 80 degrees out here, that thing running.
No, it's not. Guarantee it.
Oh yeah, you can really see the shine picking up on that. That shine is your glue. That's your glue.
Yeah, one more sand out, another coat of dope.
Be another GeoXL.
Yeah,
It looks like a Continental.
yeah. Just looks just like a Tucker Special. I'd like to try this wing in a Thunderbolt.
I got a cord down there for the Thunderbolt wing.
That's
The
what you-
original wing.
The Thunderbolt wing is what's in my Monado,
Yeah.
which is basically an SV wing. Pretty damn close.
It's probably close, yeah. Had a guy call me up and say, you need to tell me how to do that lost phone thing. I said, get online. It's easier to look it up and watch 500 videos on how to do it than it is for me to sit here and explain it. You know, and you probably gathered more from it.
I think we've explained it in depth over and over and over again.
But they're not watching the videos, all of them. You need to watch these videos, guys. We had a guy on here that asked Sparky
Yes, I got the LEDs to work, Tom.
just exactly how do you do your finishes from the bare wood on up. Well, right here we're starting it. Today is the first step from the finish on out. And you need to watch this video and the remaining videos after this to show just exactly how this is done from the ground up. And if you don't watch those videos, you miss one of them, you might miss a step in the process, but it'll show you exactly what goes on. He'll show you how he puts on the silk span. It's already been done before 1,000 times, but it's the same over and over and over again. The only thing that changes is the crew that's doing the work.
Yeah. It's real basic.
And it's pretty rough going. It's pretty rough work from all the way through to after you put the silk span on. But once you got the silk span on and 3 coats on it, then it starts getting meticulous.
Come on, nice.
Yeah, see, you don't even feel any roughness on there even after that coat. Not like, first time it really sounded like sandpaper. Now it's starting to good sound. See, because that's only 3/16 wood right there, 3/32 wood, and it's not warped.
There's 2 reasons it's not worked.
All these different drain directions, but even this piece will warp this way, this one will cup that way, this one will warp that way, but they're not. And there's a reason he puts all them grains in there in different directions to do that. Like if you have just a fin up here and all the grains running from where it glues on all the way to the end of it, it can warp or cup. If you just take an inch of that top piece and cut it off and slap a piece with the grain running horizontal on it, that'll stop all that. Same way with little slab wing 049 airplanes. You take the wing tips and cut them off square and slap on a piece with the grain 90 degrees to the wing will help tremendously at keeping the wings from warping up and stuff on them. Stab elevators the same way.
The reason why this don't work is it's geodesic inside.
Yeah, build up.
Yeah.
It's so hard to find any wood that I don't think we'll ever be able to go back to doing solid wood stuff. You're almost gonna have to build everything up. Or it's gonna weigh 5 ounces for a stab elevator instead of 3.
Then you need a Briggs and Stratton in the nose.
Doesn't help the turn when it turns and it drops about 5 feet.
I got good joints on my cut strips.
Mm-hmm. You know what helps that a lot too? And this is what I do now. I don't know if you do it, but I do it. Is as soon as I glue that cap strip on, I sand it.
Yeah.
Immediately. I don't let the glue even have time to set up, and that if there is a little minuscule of a gap in there, the sanding dust goes down in it and gets glued in there.
Just how I do it.
Don't rely on it to fill gaps, but just do it right away. And if there's a minuscule little gap in it, it'll fill it right back up and it'll be there good to go.
I can't believe how fast it's built dry.
It ain't loading that sandpaper up at all. Look at that. That's 3 sandings on that piece of sandpaper, at least, 3 sanding. to sanding. And there's no paint in it, and we only let it dry 20 minutes, half an hour in between coats. And it's only got 40% thinner in that too. Amazing.
Like 50-year-old dope.
Yeah, well, you don't have any more.
Yeah, I do.
50-year-old dope.
Yeah. I got a gallon at home. I got it from Dan McAtee. He doesn't use dope. He said, "Can you use it?" I said, "Yeah, I'll take it." Got one more gallon.
I think that I threw that shit out, but I swear to God, I had this whole gallon of Brodex Clear that turned into jello. And I used to have some here. I tried to.
I got a gallon of Brodac Clear over there. They want $49 for their gallon of clear.
Really?
Well, that's what's written on the label.
I must have figured it out. Because I tried to reconstitute it and make it work, and then I was afraid to use it after I actually did get a little bit of it to do it, but it formed a lump in the bottom. You had all this clear liquid around it, but all the solids were in a big hard lump, like gelatin, real hard gelatin. And it was shot. You just had to throw it away, a whole gallon of it. It's smooth baby butt.
And one more coat. I'll do a coat and let it tack, and then put the soap pan on it.
What's going to be neat is to watch the people's eyes when they see how white this plane is in the end. With no more than 2 spoonfuls of white. Don't irritate your paint job. You ever done that? I've irritated a few paint jobs myself. I reckon. Get impatient. My neuropathy gets to me.
Remember, when you see this, it started out blue. It's now kind of green. Uh-oh. Looks like I don't know if I missed it or what. There. Yeah, I must have got it. I'll go back to the apartment and I'll put super fill in this so it's dry tomorrow.
Yeah. You gonna leave that in the morning?
Sometime tomorrow.
Yeah, sometime. Or sometime.
Gotta get all the car loaded up, all my shit I'm gonna take with me. Yeah, this will come out pretty good, really. Not bad. It's gonna take some more work, but
Don't they all? The biggest problem is before you start doing this and getting it hardened up and getting foot cam on it and stuff, is they're so prone to dents and dings, and all I gotta do is look at them cross-eyed and
Well, I would like to do an airplane, just one, and get away without poking a hole in it.
silly boy, I don't think that's feasible. I don't think it's possible. Right here, it says right here, those of you that said I'll do that when hell freezes over, well, it's hell's coming tomorrow, it's supposed to freeze over. I think the temperatures are supposed to drop down into the below zero range. And stay that way for 2 or 3 days.
Well, guys, we got 2 hours in. I think I'm going to wrap the video up. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate all the super chats. And when I get home, I will do a hanger rash again and finish up sanding. And we'll see you then. So we'll see you in about 2 hours, about 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. All right. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.
See ya.